I'm Peggy Gospard. I live in Washington, Indiana. It was 47 years ago that I said yes to Mary Kay. And what a journey, what a fabulous journey that was. Nothing that I could imagine, and everything that I needed. What do you think of when I say time management?
Yeah.
I love it. You might be thinking, oh, no, not that, or that's what I need, or whatever it is that you're thinking. I hope that you will be open to what I share in the next few minutes that could help make your time more productive and give you a good balance of work, play, and rest. There are lots of things that we can delegate, but time management is not one of them. And what you give your time to in one direction takes it away from another direction. And there aren't any do-overs. So it's important that your agenda, that your schedule, that your routines are well planned. And that's something that you can do because we choose how we do that, right? You're receiving 4 handouts. You have 2 weekly plan sheets. And I'll tell you how you have 2 of them in just a minute. Then you have 1 income producing activities, an IPA. And I'm not even going to talk about that because it's pretty self-explained, but if you have questions about it, you can ask in your afternoon session, or you can ask your director, what this is all about. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Then the last sheet is this one. I won't talk about that one either, but it's just some tips. I put this in my last newsletter. Tips to give you a great year, maybe the best year ever, or at least make some significant changes in your year so that it's great. Okay, those are your handouts. All right, first, your first weekly plan sheet. Louder? Okay. I'll do my best. Okay, the first one, I want you to take us home and create your ideal week. Your ideal week was on this weekly plan sheet. And you can use colored pencils or markers if you want to. And maybe you've done this exercise before. And if you do use colors, you're going to put everything on that weekly plan sheet that you have in your life. And you may use purple for faith-related activities like church, Bible study, your quiet time, anything that's faith-related. And then maybe blue for your family. So you're going to include your kids' practices, their games, their appointments, date with your husband, your family things, anything that occurs regularly. I mean, your weeks are all different, but anything that occurs regularly, you're going to put in this ideal weekly plan sheet. Then you'll have 2 colors for Mary Kay, pink and green. The green is for money-making activities, holding appointments, when you deliver products, anytime you're collecting money. That's green time. And then pink is everything else you do in your business. It's when you're scheduling appointments, when you're doing planning, when you're filling out your weekly accomplishment sheet that you do every week and hand it to your director. It's anything that you're doing that you're not collecting money, but you're doing things. All right, that's pink. Then if you have another job, you'll have a color for that. Maybe orange or brown. I almost said black, but yeah, brown is another job. And then personal time. That's the time getting ready for the day. It's making dinner. It's household things. Unless you delegate those, which is a really good idea. Having lunch with a friend. It's the things you do for yourself, the personal things. So once you've created this, and it's not going to be the same every week, but do your ideal one, because you'll be able to see pockets of time. Once you put in everything that occurs on a regular basis every week, then you can see that I have 2 evenings that are completely free, and I have this time, and I have this pocket of time right here. And those are where you can put your power hour for contacting, getting new business, getting appointments, for following up, for customer customer service, for visualization. And you may think, well, I don't have an hour, and I have another full-time job that's really demanding, and I have a bunch of kids, and I don't have an hour. Well, then 15 or 20 minutes, or 10 or 15 minutes. Because when you put something in the microwave for 7 minutes, you don't sit there and watch it, right? You do something else. You have a little dishwasher, you set the table, you do something for those 7 minutes. And it's amazing what you can do in 7 minutes. So you can take those little pockets of time and contact some people and make that work, even if you don't have time for a power hour. But you'll also see, when you do that weekly plan sheet, where you can do your parties. You may have, depending on how many you want to do a week, maybe you want to do 3, maybe 5, maybe 2. Decide, looking at your week, when that's going to work best. Maybe Tuesday evening works, maybe Thursday afternoon works, maybe Saturday morning. You can do them all on Saturday if you want, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. But whatever works for you is what you want to put on that ideal week. And then when you're contacting people to schedule appointments with them, you can give them 2 or 3 options, and you know exactly they're going to fit in for you because you've decided ahead of time when you have times to do your business. Okay, the other weekly plan sheet, you're going to sit down on Sunday evening and do next week. Put next week on it. And that way you'll have it, and you can also see pockets of time that you maybe didn't think you had. Maybe you think next week is Sylvie's there, won't really do anything else except what's already scheduled. But you may see those little pockets of time. Weekly plan sheet is a valuable tool that Mary Kay has given us. And if you have a family, it's a good idea to put it on your refrigerator so they can see where you are, what you're doing, and won't be surprised if you can't attend their, volleyball game on Tuesday night because you already had something scheduled. Okay. All right. Here we go. Another tool that Mary Kay has provided for us is the weekly accomplishment sheet. And I don't know that because it's on in touch. And I hope that all of you are very familiar with it already and are using it every single week and submitting it to your director, because that's how you're going to be recognized for what you're doing. It's easy to do, it's also easy not to do, but it's important to do. And you want it to do your taxes. Okay, another tool that I want to mention is the 6 most important things list. This is a tool that Mary Kay gave us. And the 6 most important things, if you do it the night before, or the next day, when you get up the next morning, you know what to do. You know what the first thing is that you want to do. Instead of wasting an hour thinking, what should you do? I wonder what the best thing is to do first. Well, you've got it. You've got it written down. And the 6 most important things list is from Mary Kay. There may be 17 other things you want to do the next day, but the 6 most important things list is for your Mary Kay business. And the top 2 or 3 should be people. Because it's people that grow your business. It's people that move you where you want to go. So the top 2 or 3 should involve people, either contacting people or seeing people face to face. Okay. And let's look at your daily schedule. The first 15 minutes of your day and the last 15 minutes of your day are the bookends of your day. And those are really important times because how you start your day is going to determine how your day plays out. And if you're someone that sleeps until the last possible second, gets ready really, really fast, runs out the door with coffee in one hand, baby on the other, and get in your car and drive. If you're that person, consider this. Get up 15 to 20 minutes earlier and have some quiet time. And your quiet time can be, you can be reading a devotional, you can be reading your Bible, praying, meditating, visualizing. It can be what you want it to be. But it will make a difference. If it's not something that you're doing, try it, because it does make a difference in how you're centered, in how So having those few minutes in the morning to just to center yourself, visualize how's the day going to play out, who are you going to see, who are you going to talk to, because that helps in your vision too, and having that come what you want it to come. The last 15 minutes of your day, that's when you can kind of recap your day. What went well? What didn't go well? What could I do differently so that it would go better the next time this same thing happens? What am I grateful for? And gratitude is really important. You can ask yourself, where did I see God working today in my life, in the lives of other people? When you go to bed, go to sleep, and you have thought about what you're grateful for, it makes a difference. And of course, before that 15 minutes, you're going to have your 6 most important things list for the next day done already. Okay, so the bookends of your day are important. And if you don't have those in place, if that's not part of your routine, I suggest you try that, because it does make a difference in how your day plays out and how you can sleep that night and start your next day. Okay, something else that I believe can make a big difference in your time and your productivity is compartmentalization. How many of you are familiar with that? Some of you are, lots of you aren't. Compartmentalization, it's a big word, and here's what it means. Well, you all have a busy life, right? You may have families, you may have kids, you may be, have a spouse, you may have parents, parents are still living. You may have another job besides Mary Kay. You definitely have Mary Kay. You may be, your faith is important to you, so that's an important part of your life. You may be involved in your community, activities, committees or boards. You have friends and neighbors. You may have hobbies. So lots of things in your life. Your life is filled with a variety of things. Excuse me. So think about your brain. Think about your brain or your mind, and it has all of these things that fill up your life in your mind, and almost like a pie, so that you have all these compartments. Okay, can you picture that? Each compartment has a door on it. And these doors open and close. And what would it be like if all of these doors were open at the same time? It's like when you're talking to a customer on the phone and you're trying to think of what to fix for dinner at the same time, and you're looking at your calendar to see if you can find a time to take Johnny to the dentist. You're trying to do all of those things at one time. None of them get done well. So what if you, with your brain, your mind, that has all these compartments and all these doors in each compartment, one door in each compartment, what if you have one door open at a time besides your faith door? My faith is important to me, and I have that door open all the time because my faith is instrumental in every other area of my life. So your faith door open and one other door at a time. So when you are talking to a customer, you're just talking to the customer. And when you're done, you can go to the next thing. When you're connecting with your child, that's all that you're doing right now. Giving your attention, undivided attention to that child. In that moment, you're not thinking about what you should be doing next. You're in that moment. It makes a difference when, here we go, let me see where I am. If you can do that, and it takes practice though to do that, because The example about the children. If you have children at home, and when they come home from school, they want you. They want to tell you stuff from school right then. Right, yeah. But you might be busy and you say, just a minute, mommy, just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. And if you keep doing that, thinking that you're going to finish your task, don't. Instead, stop what you're doing, give that child your undivided attention for the 2 minutes that he or she wants you, and then you're off doing something else. Then you can get back to your task. It makes, it actually saves time in doing that, so you focus on one thing at a time, finishing it, and then going on to the next. When I remember when my kids were little, and when I was playing with them, I think, I should be making calls. And then I'd be making calls, and I think, ooh, I should be giving them my attention. Well, then Sue Kirkpatrick explained compartmentalization, and it made sense to me. It doesn't mean that it's been perfect from then on, but at least I know that that's important. It's important to compartmentalize your day, your time, and give your time and attention to that one thing. When there's a task that I need to do that I know is really going to take my focus and attention, and it's maybe only going to be 45 minutes, I'll put my phone in another room. I have it on silent 95% of the time anyway, but if it's with me and it's on silent, I can still see it light up, and it's still a distraction. So I put it in a different room, finish what I'm doing, and then can go get it. Because when you get distracted, it takes a few minutes to get back where you were. You think you're going to just go right back to it, but you just really don't, because you're still thinking about that text message that you returned, and so it takes a little bit of time to get back. So, not multitasking, just doing one thing at a time. It doesn't happen overnight. If you're someone who is used to multitasking, then you need to be intentional about it. And thinking, okay, I'm just going to do this, and then I can do this one, and then I can do this one. It's a time saver. You're more productive and less stress too. That's a good thing. When we do something over and over again, it creates pathways in our brain. And we keep doing those things because it's a deep crease in our brain. When we want to change something, we have to be intentional about creating a new pathway, because if there's not a pathway for something new that we want to do, so you have to be intentional about doing it over and over again until the crease gets deeper, and then it's a habit, and then we do it. Okay. Would you agree that something that messes with our time is distractions? So what kind of distractions?
My phone.
Husband. Facebook. I can hear him a lot distracted. Scrolling. Okay, what else?
My animals.
Animals, okay.
Yes.
TV.
My husband.
All right.
Kids.
Kids, yeah.
Ring
Little, your ring doorbell, okay, yeah. I mean, somebody said kids, little kids, big people can be distractions too. Okay, there are lots of things that distract us, lots of things. And you mentioned scrolling on Facebook. We have every intention, perhaps, of just going on Facebook to post in our customer group, or post on our public page, and then she's doing. And then 45 minutes later, you think, oh no, I didn't even get my post done. So, if that happens to you, then maybe schedule it. Schedule a time for doing Facebook. And that might sound really crazy, but if you schedule it and give yourself, what do you need, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, do your thing, and then you have a little time to scroll. But when that alarm rings, I mean, set it on your phone. Then you're done. And then maybe you can do it again later in the afternoon. But it sounds funny to do that, but it really is a time saver in the end. Our phones can be distracting too. And I mentioned putting your phone someplace else. mentioned comparison.
Oh.
That's a distraction, isn't it? In a time waster. Marshawn Evans Daniels has a devotional book called 100 Days to Believe Bigger. And she has a page in there on comparison. I'm going to read just part of it. And a little bit of this is my thing too, but here's what she said. As hard as it may be to believe, what God is doing in the lives of others has absolutely nothing to do with what He is seeking to do in you. When we obsess about what others are doing, we make room for doubt to creep in, and our self-talk could go like this. You're not doing enough. You're behind. It's too late. You're not as talented. Your life isn't as pretty. You don't have enough. You just aren't enough. Much of our insecurity comes from our addiction to comparison and trying to keep up to what others seem to be doing and accomplishing. You can't be compared to anyone else because you aren't like anyone else. If we spend as much time focusing on our dreams as we do in watching others live theirs, we'd be happier and could be living in our God-given purpose. So comparison. We usually compare our worst to somebody else's best, and that's not fair to either one of us. So, stop it. I mean, it's knowing that it's not good, and knowing when you do it, then, yeah, then don't. What and whom we let influence us makes a huge difference in who we are, makes a difference in our attitude, our behavior, what we do, and the results that we expect to get. And the influencers that we have are what we watch, what we listen to, what we read, and who we hang around. What we watch could be TV, which can be a distraction. It can be YouTube videos. It can be narrative videos. What we listen to can be podcasts or radio or music or again, Mary Kay, I almost did cassettes. Mary Kay downloads. What we read can be personal growth books. It can be novels. It can be a newspaper. All those things influence us. And the people we hang around, the 5 people that you hang around the most, you will become like the average of those 5. So think about, who is it that you hang around the most? Would you trade places with them? Would you want them to mentor you? Think about who it is, because they are influencing you. It's important that we protect our minds and our hearts by watching who it is that we let speak into us, because it makes a difference. They are influencing us. Yeah, I already talked about Facebook and how you can set an alarm if you need to, if you're a Facebook abuser or a Facebook fanatic or whatever it might be. An addict, there you go, a Facebook addict. But the same thing could be done, like this alarm, we're setting a time for it, is for rest. Because when you work hard, it's important to rest well. And I'm not talking about a 2-hour nap. I'm talking more about, even though that might sound good, I'm talking about a 15-minute break. Just to take 15 minutes away from the task that you're just kind of maybe bogged down in if you haven't taken a rest break for a while. Go outside if you can. Nature is wonderful. But just get away from what you were doing. Even close your eyes and just listen. What do you hear? Maybe you're outside, maybe you hear birds, maybe you hear the wind going through the leaves, maybe you hear traffic. But just calm your mind. 15 minutes can make a huge difference. Then you can get back at it. Maybe you were having an issue with what you were doing, and all of a sudden, it's solved. I mean, you figured out what to do. But it's important. It's important, especially when, saying to yourself makes a difference. And there are a couple different kinds of things we say to ourselves. One form of self-talk is affirmations. And affirmations are intentional self-talk. It's making statements about what we want. And some generic affirmations would be, this is something that Tiffany said this morning, I create wealth for my family. I'm a people magnet. Everyone wants to book with me. What if you said that every day? Only good things happen to me and those I love. And Bible verses are great too. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. What if you said those things to yourself every day? Would that make a difference? And then you can make ones that are specific just to you. But affirmations are statements that you create to affirm what you would like. Then the other kind of self-talk is we're just talking to ourselves all the time. You're talking to yourself while you're listening to me. That's kind of like multitasking, isn't it? But we do. We talk to ourselves all the time. And we say things like, I can't believe I just did that. I'm such a klutz. Or, why doesn't anyone respond to me? Or, I mean, things like that. And that's not the worst that we say to ourselves. But those are some things that you probably do say to yourself from time to time. And it's not encouraging when we say things, when we say negative things to ourselves. It's not encouraging. It doesn't make us feel great about ourselves. So, again, stop it. Stop doing it. In order to change that, though, you have to be aware, first of all, that you do talk to yourself all the time. It might not be out loud, but you're saying stuff to yourself. So be aware of it, and then catch yourself. Catch yourself when you say something negative. And turn it around and say something to yourself that is positive. Say something about a great thing that you're doing, or something that you do well. Praise yourself for what you do well. So self-talk. It's important. All of us have the same 86,400 seconds in a day. And it's what we do with that that makes the difference.
How many seconds was that?
86,400. I count that. We get to choose how we invest our time. We get to choose how we use those seconds. And those choices make a difference. You can use a weekly plan sheet every week. You can turn in your weekly accomplishment sheet every single week. You can use a six most important things list every day. You can have a tracking system, you can have goal sheets. But if your priorities aren't aligned with your purpose, you may not be moving towards your goals like you want to. So you want to align your priorities with your purpose. And that's going to make a difference. And also make sure that the ladder you're climbing is leaning against the right wall. Because you could be climbing fast, but it could be, your ladder could be leaning against the wrong wall. And so check and make sure. As I wrap up, here's some things to remember. Imperfect action over perfect procrastination. Imperfect action over trumps perfect procrastination. Just start. Just do something. Get in action. Just do something. Another one is progress over perfection. Everything doesn't have to be perfect before you start. You don't have to have all your ducks in a row. Start, and then you'll figure it out. And you'll have some progress. Purpose over preferences. You may have something you want to do, but you also need to know what you should be doing. So purpose over preferences. Okay. I want to thank you for